since I last played. And, so, teams are not able to get the ball on the 25-yard line. So, for, as a team, if you feel more comfortable with your offense starting at the 25-yard line than at the, 10-yard line or the 15-yard line, most teams are going to do the fair catch to give their offense a chance to drive the ball down the field. So, it's sad to see that it's not as many as return, but at the same time, you definitely like to see the health and the safety of the players. But that just goes to teaching, with coaches teaching the proper technique and making sure that guys have their heads up, and they did a great job of taking away the wall or the three-man wall that normally that return teams have. So, it's sad to see the go, but, if you think, that you tell guys, if you get an opportunity to return one, make sure that you make the most of it because they don't come very often.
Hey, Coach, Trevor Groves from CUTigers.com here. How did you get the news a couple months ago that you were voted into the Hall of Fame, and how special was that moment for you?
It was an awesome moment. Coach Sweeney, I was just happened to be cleaning up a closet, doing some stuff, and he called me. And, he was kind of, I really didn't know what he was calling about, honestly. And then he was kind of giving his whole spiel to both. Me and my wife was standing right there beside me. So he was saying, how I became his, his first time, big time recruit and, his first draft pick and then the first Pro Bowl. And then it was like, now, CJ, you're my first Hall of Famer. And I was definitely shocked. The year before, that was my first year of eligibility on the list. And, as an individual, you really don't think too much of those things. You're very honored and appreciative to even be mentioned to be on that list, to even be thinking about going into it. But then when it actually happened that you got elected to go into the College Football Hall of Fame, to me, it still hasn't even sunk in and still really hasn't hit me just because I've been so locked in to trying to get my guys here ready to go throughout the spring. So, but once that time comes and we have the celebration, I'm pretty sure all the self-reflection will come back to me. And, like I told a lot of people, it wasn't just a one-man thing. It took a lot of people, a lot of hard work from a lot of individuals to get me to that point. All my teammates, my coaches, my training staff, my friends. So it's a group effort, but obviously, my name's going in there. But like I told everybody's names is attached to this.
Hey, CJ, this is Will from the Clemson Insider. Wanted to ask you about the two freshman running back. How are they looking, and how different is that for you? Remembering when you were a freshman coming in, and how do you try to help those two guys out?
Both Will and Phil have looked great so far. You expect them to come in and be just freshmen. They're gonna have mistakes along the way. It's a new system. For Will, he didn't have a chance to play high school ball, so you have to take that into account that he hasn't played in over a year. So you have to just kind of be careful with that to make sure that he comes along properly. Phil, he does look awesome. Good as advertised. They kind of remind you of that. I guess you can say that old James Davis and myself. But you don't want to put that type of pressure on. The thing that I tell both of those guys is that be yourself. Be who you are. Don't worry about these high expectations that other people have on you. Just go out there and just be the best version of yourself. Don't try to be nobody else. And both of those guys have done a tremendous job of that throughout the spring so far.
CJ, it's Mark Gaughan from the Buffalo News. Greetings from Buffalo. Just two questions. Two questions. Just what do you think? Do you have any doubts about Travis Etienne's transition to the NFL, and what do you think will make him successful? And then the second question is, every year, there's been a lot of talk about are running backs worth taking in the first round, given the depth of the position. As a former Pro Bowler, just where do you stand on that?
Well, I think that's your first question. I think Travis Etienne going to transition to the NFL. I don't want to say easy, but I don't think it's going to be overbearing for him. For one, he's such a humble individual. He's the total package. To me, he's the best running back coming out of the draft. He can do it all. He can catch the ball. He can run between the tackles. If you need him in the return game, he can do that. He's just one of those individuals that when he gets the ball in his hands, something special is going to happen. And then the most thing that you like about him that he's very doable. He's going to be available on Sunday, so that won't be a question mark. So I'm excited to see where he lands. And then, as far as your second question, that question always come up every year in the Buffalo area about, do they need to take another guy? The thing that, that I always learned from Coach Buddy Nix, the GM that was there when I was in Buffalo, is that, hey, you take the best guy that's available. And I love that mindset that he had. It doesn't matter. You're trying to get your football team better. And, and if your guy having to be on the board when your time comes to pick, then you take that guy. Sometimes teams goes by needs, but Coach Nix, his mindset was always you take the best available guy, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably didn't agree with the pick when Buffalo chose me when you had Marshawn Lynch and Fred Jackson there, but he felt like I was the best guy when it came time for Buffalo to pick, and that's why they turned in the card. So I'm forever grateful for that.
DJ, why was now the right time for you to become a coach, and just what's it like taking this next step in your career?
I just knew, I had been volunteering at a local high school over at Liberty, and it just, and then, spent this last year, been an unpaid graduate, just sitting back and just watching how things are done from a different lens. And I just knew that this was my calling. Some people say, this is their job. To me, this is my calling. I kind of got that itch when I was helping out, those high school students. And, and that's kind of where it started from. I didn't know how quickly it would come, so you just really just pray on it. But I was prepared. I was always preparing myself for when that time does come. But there's still some things that I will learn along the way. I'm not going to sit here and say I know everything because I'm new to it. But I think last year kind of gave me a jump start of what to expect, and being able to sit in Coach Elliott's room and seeing how he commands the room, how he runs the room, how he engaged with the guys. It kind of gave me a first glimpse of what it would take to be successful. So I'm always going to be grateful for Coach Elliott for even allowing me to even sit in his meetings, because we all know that sometimes that doesn't happen everywhere, just because, some guys might feel, pressured or might feel like you're looking over their shoulders. But, Coach Elliott was very gracious enough, and, he always asked me questions, always told me if I had any concerns or anything that, that I didn't know, to ask him. So to be able to do that for a full year kind of gave me a jump start on how to handle certain things.
What was